I'm joined by Hoboken's 5th Ward Councilman Phil Cohen, who is seeking re-election in the upcoming November 7th election. Councilman, thank you for joining me here on Hudson TV to talk about the campaign. I appreciate your time.
It's good to be here, Jeff.
Okay, so Ward 5, the western section, the northwestern section of the city, and a sizable chunk basically right there in the middle. From the time that you spent on the council and from the time that you spent during this campaign speaking with your constituency, what have they been telling you, and what do you see as the main issues within the ward? What have you been doing with regard to those things so far? And should you be reelected, what will you continue to do to approach some of those issues?
Well, Jeff, one of the main things I've been focused on since I was elected is resiliency. Hoboken, the western edge of Hoboken, northwest Hoboken, floods and floods badly. I know you know it well, and you've covered it. We lived through Superstorm Sandy in 2012. I've been living in Hoboken since 1986. It's something that's just a fact of life. We've got a rebuild by design program that's underway. And we've made progress on that infrastructure. But the main thing that's changed in the last 4 years is Resilient City Park. I think you were there covering it when Governor Murphy was there for the ribbon cutting. I was there. I made a speech at that event. We just had a major rainstorm there. Seemed like a week where nothing but heavy rain came down about a week and a half ago. And there was nary a puddle in the area of the Northwest Resiliency Park. 2 million gallons of stormwater were retained there. So I think that people are enjoying the new park. They think it's a great place to go for walks. It's transformed the northwest of Hoboken, but it's not just what's happening above ground that's exciting there. What's happening below ground is exciting as well. So that's a major issue. Rent is a major issue. I've been dealing with it a lot. I didn't realize it was going to be a big issue, but after COVID, when we had a lot of people who had sort of fled Hoboken or moved back with mom and dad, or tried to get into a place where it was easier to be social distant than in apartment living. There were a lot of vacancies in a lot of the buildings in Northwest Hoboken. And when the tenants came back, so did rent hikes. We saw 20, 30% rent hikes. I got involved with working with tenants in buildings to try and make sure that the rents that were being assessed were legal, were appropriate, and we're not forcing people out of town. And we've had major successes there. A number of buildings are now subject to rent control. The Rivington is one of them, where they've been doing 25, 30% rent hikes. Now they're limited to 5% or CPI, whatever's lower. And right now CPI is 3.5%. So I'd say rents, resiliency, quality of life issues continue to be.
Let me interrupt you real quickly.
Yep.
Before we go into the quality of life, you're talking about the rent situation stuff. I think it's safe to say a good portion of the western perimeter, the northwestern part of the city in your ward, would be considered a commercial area. So as far as development goes, what types of development is best for that ward? Is there too much development happening in that particular portion of the ward, in your opinion?
Well, Jeff, Northwest Hoboken had been subject to a Northwest redevelopment plan that had not been approved. It was on the books for a long time. It's really the last frontier of industrial Hoboken that hasn't been developed. And that we now have a plan in place, and we've started making approvals consistent with that plan. We just approved on the 1400 block of Adams Street what will be a beer hall and commercial space. Not another big residential development, but it's going to be a 2-story brewery, beer hall, and commercial space above it. So I think that's great. There's a lot of opportunities there. One of the big things we had to deal with was relocating the DPW garage. You probably remember, Jeff, and you reported on it, that the Monarch site was supposed to be built over the piers at 15th Street, sort of like Riva Point and Weehawken. Hoboken did not want to have commercial development over its piers. We made a settlement. Mayor Bala got the settlement done. City Council approved it. I'm fully supported that settlement. And now we found a new location for the DPW garage in the furthest northwest corner of the city by the Academy site. So that was major. And that allowed us to have a truly connected waterfront. And let me add, New York Waterway, when I was elected in 2019, city did not own it. It was in private hands. Union Dry Dock was that last major piece of the waterfront. We didn't have it. Today, we are the city of Hoboken is the legal owner of that land, and we're that much closer to have a fully connected waterfront. So development is ongoing and continuing, but the major developments that I'm seeing are developments for the public good. Parks, taking on the public waterfront, building out a resiliency park that has transformed Northwest Hoboken and the Fifth Ward. And the development that I've seen, and I'm chair of the development committee, has been truly exciting. The rail yard project, Governor Murphy had $170 million start that project. It's going to transform our Gateway Transit Hub, major New Jersey transit project. I think it's very exciting what's on the horizon.
Okay, so it's safe to say Ward 5 is a mixture of both residential properties and commercial, meshing together. Before I interrupted you a bit earlier, you had started to mention quality of life. What
Correct.
Everybody has been saying so far that I've been interviewing and that you've been reading in the media and stuff, as far as quality of life, is the rat issue within the city, and ways to try to attack that and prevent it and get it under control, if not get rid of it altogether. What progress do you see? How bad is that situation in your particular ward, and what type of progress is being made and can be made to get rid of the rodents?
Well, it's a problem. I'd say earlier in the year, I was getting a lot more regular reports. It's different pockets. The Fifth Ward is a fairly large geographic slice of the city. But there are neighborhoods where I was getting repeated concerns about rats in their backyards, rats near playgrounds, rats in areas, commercial districts. I don't think it's as bad and as frequent as you hear from downtown in the commercial districts. Uptown, it seems to be a little bit less. But that doesn't mean that we're happy with any rats, frankly. It's a problem. So what have we done? We've changed the culture of garbage collection in our city. New York City, I just saw, said that starting in March of 2023 is going to require containerized garbage. Hoboken did that starting in August this year. I sponsored and we passed a resolution, an ordinance that requires that daily cleaning be done with respect to outdoor dining establishments, that if there's any possibility of rodents harboring underneath the surface of the dining establishments, that they need a plan presented to the city in about 30 days from now, explaining how they're going to deal with cleaning underneath those surfaces. Could mean introducing trap doors so that they can clean, could require having steel wool in gaps, but we like the idea of having outdoor dining. I think it makes Hoboken interesting and attractive, generates a lot of revenues for the city, and it's also great for the restaurants. However, it has to be done in a way that is clean and rodent-free. So the ordinance that I've passed, introduced, and was passed unanimously by the council takes us way down the path of doing that. No way are we declaring victory. No way are we saying it's over. But these are wily critters, and we need to keep a full frontal assault on them to deprive them of meals. But I'm telling you, Jeff, I've lived in Hoboken 36 years. Garbage night was the night when the bags came out and the rats would crawl through those bags and have themselves their al fresco dinners. That's not happening anymore.
That's not a good thing.
Now, no, not great. Now we're seeing, little towers of sealed containers dotting the block on collection night. The rats can't get in there. They can't get access to that food. We're depriving them of their food sources, and they're likely going to go somewhere else where they can find it easier. I'm not wishing them on any other committee. I just want them out of Hoboken.
Hey, Councilman, we are out of time. Is there or are there some social media platforms that you want to throw out there to let the public know how they can read up and learn more about you and what you've done and what you hope to continue doing?
Absolutely, Jeff. So you can learn more about me on my website, philcohen.org. You can subscribe to my newsletter, Philip. You can at hobokenphil@gmail. You can send me an email. I'd be happy to add you to my distribution. You can see me on Facebook, Phil Cohen for Council. You can see me on X, formerly Twitter, at Philip H. Cohen, PHILIPHCOHEN. Same handle on Instagram, Philip H. Cohen, PHILIPHCOHEN. I'm very responsive to emails that I get, and I just sent out a newsletter today, and a few thousand people have already looked at it, which is great.
Okay,
Thanks, Jeff.
and Councilman, thank you for joining me on Hudson TV. I appreciate your time. Good luck hitting those residents on their porches over the next couple of weeks leading up to the election. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
See you, Jeff.